This scene is the first time Belinda meets Doctor Who, by which I refer to both the character and the contours of the show. Repressive robots have kidnapped her to an alien world named for her through a tacky online registry, and, on arrival, she's engaged to a robot king with asymmetrical ptosis. Which is a pretty good start, but for my money it's not Doctor Who until things get ludological. Playground monsters with rules like a game you have to learn to survive. Don't frown, don't blink, don't look, don't think. That's Doctor Who's domain. In this case, the Doctor has arrived on planet Miss Belinda Chandra 6 months early as a clever little simulation of the way that they always know something more than the companion, which in this specific dynamic stands in metaphorically for the difference in expertise and authority between a doctor and a nurse, which is the basis for their relationship. In fact, he's been here long enough to have installed himself as the planet's historian, and so is given the opportunity to explain things to the new queen. Exposition, of course, is what the Doctor's best at. What's any doctor's job but to explain complicated threats? And he's doubling up here, as we and Belinda notice specific words out of place in his story, because, as he's explaining, the robots are faulty and cannot hear every 9th word. This important, but essentially routine exposition is made itself ludological. The background world building is made actually background to the Doctor Who-ish monster game, which asks your whole attention, encouraging you to lean in and count the words on your fingers like Belinda does. Doctor Who's a family show, so while a lot of its audience are smart enough to follow a big concept like this, there's always some extra signposting required for the adults. And being aligned with Belinda's perspective, her reactions guide ours and introduce us to the Doctor and the ludology of the show from scratch. Gatwa avoids eye contact for the first 8 words, punching in on the 9th. He affects the tone of a neutral narrator for the exposition, but punctuates the keywords with the characterful flair of his Doctor.
Careful.
Here, the camera spikes keywords with well-timed cuts, jarring Dutch and low angles, and an extremely close focus on the details of his mouth. The variety in these shots allows them to cut together for the flashback explanation and jumps out from the more conventional coverage of the episode so far, like the Doctor's wild mania peeking from behind his beige disguise. The camera moving closer, the focus getting shallower across the sequence, increasingly removes the Doctor and Belinda from the world of the robots. The background fades away as our attention is demanded by the game. In a conversation like this, we expect the shots on each character to mirror one another. But Belinda's confusion is filmed wider, pulling out, in a way that doesn't cut together naturally. But we come in close on her eyes as she begins to see. As she has to put the trick into practice herself, and as comprehension turns to action, we pedestal down from eye to mouth. She counts the words on her fingers, shot in similarly close, wonky, weird angles. As she begins speaking the same language as the Doctor, the visual language she's covered in begins to sync up for her 9th word, where all the meaning is.
Gotcha.
It's a one-word way of saying, I understand you, and that's true in both ways it can be read. She's learnt the rules of the monster and understands what the Doctor said. And in doing so, in learning how to play the game, she understands who he is. They both smirk in recognition of each other, but no less at the sheer fun of the game. The joy of the format. Doctor Who. Words are weapons. The Doctor and Belinda Chandra meet for the first time right here, and as they do, shot and reverse shot